Coming up next on Making Moves, construction on Jacksonville's new transit center hits a major milestone. We'll take you on an exclusive tour and get an update on its progress. JTA steps in when a local county loses its transit service. Karen Adams updates us on the expansion of a key South Side connector. And the St. Johns River Ferry gets miniaturized. I'm Donna Deegan. These stories and more right now on Making Moves. Hello and welcome to another edition of Making Moves. I'm Donna Deegan. Coming up on today's show, JTA steps in to help when Clay Transit folds, leaving Clay seniors with a ride. And we'll head to the South Side to get an update from Karen Adams on a critical South Side roadway expansion project. But we start with a major milestone at the Jacksonville Regional Transportation Center, now under construction in LaVilla. JTA started the new year with a significant milestone on phase 2 of its new transit center and administration facility under construction across from the Prime Osborne Convention Center that's just west of downtown. JTA officials were joined by the JRTC design team, contractors, local elected officials, and a whole host of construction workers for the official topping off ceremony. And of course, Making Moves had it covered from all angles.
On behalf of my fellow board members who are here, I welcome you to today's steel topping out ceremony for the Jacksonville Regional Transportation Center at LaVilla. The event kicks off an exciting year for the JTA and the region.
The last time we came together here was for the ceremony to mark the groundbreaking. So today the site looks quite different. We owe this remarkable achievement to many people who have been involved in this project. It truly takes innovative and visionary leadership for a project like this to get off the ground.
The partnership between the private sector and the public sector in Jacksonville is the envy across the state. And you wouldn't have great buildings like this and great partnerships if it weren't for the private sector and the business community coming together with the electeds and the utilities and the independent authorities to make good things happen. And
so proud of JTA and what they've accomplished for our city. Any major city you go to, the two things you hear, we really need affordable housing for our workforce and we need great public transportation.
This is a regional asset. This doesn't impact just Jacksonville. It impacts all the counties around us and all the people that need transportation. With every great city comes a wonderful transportation system, and we're going to have it. And it's amazing watching what you and your team have done. I appreciate the board giving the time for this.
What we're trying to do is pull our community together with all of these different modes to create a seamless network of transportation. So as the sun rises on this great city every day, just look to the future, look at this new addition to our skyline, and think about the future and the vision for so much more. I thank you all for joining us here today, and we expect you to be back in February of 2020 when we open the doors and cut the ribbon on this new facility.
The JRTC project has been on the books in various forms for nearly 2 decades, but things began to change 6 years ago when Nat Ford took over the reins at JTA. Ford began the evaluation of the current Skyway and, with the JTA board's approval, began to push the authority toward a future featuring a new Skyway with autonomous vehicles. With it came a vision for a new regional transportation center. Here's a look at the evolution of the $57 million Jacksonville Regional Transportation Center at LaVilla. The JTA Board of Directors has approved the recommendation of the Selection Committee for the design and construction of a new regional transportation center in the LaVilla neighborhood, just to the west of downtown. As you can imagine, building a facility like the Jacksonville Regional Transportation Center at LaVilla is no easy task. With its 5 levels, unique curved design, a new safer JTA bus hub, and the skyway coming into the 2nd floor of the building. But the folks at Balfour Beatty are certainly up to the challenge. And returning now to Making Moves to give us all an update on the construction is Dave Campbell of Balfour Beatty, the major contractor for the project. Dave, welcome back. We're excited to have you.
Thank you, Donna.
It's
Happy
fun,
to be back.
man. It's fun to watch this going up. I mean, it's when you're like halfway there. But this topping off ceremony was a big deal. Tell us about it.
So topping off is a critical milestone that you have in any project. It really signifies the finishing of the structure of any project, and for us, it's the erection of the last steel beam. And it's very common to have the ceremony and to really bring everybody together who's worked so hard over the last few years, along with the entire JTA team and really the individuals in the field working hard to bring this project together, bring them together. It's really important. Well,
you know, in addition to all those folks, I mean, you had a really good-sized crowd out there to watch this. So that to me signifies there's a great deal of excitement around this.
Yeah, most groundbreaking ceremonies are not as amazing as the one we had with when you have the movers and shakers of Jacksonville, along with the movers and shakers of the guys really moving the dirt and building the building, breaking bread, having a ceremony to celebrate that is a really big deal, and it's important.
Well, you can see it really coming together beautifully. As you said, we've still got a ways to go, but has there been any significant roadblocks as you've been going along the path here since 2017 that you've had to deal with?
Every project has roadblocks. You anticipate them well on. We anticipated getting out of the ground in the existing conditions and the existing utilities, and we did a really good job of overcoming those. So the roadblocks we've mitigated really well on this project, and it's been a success. And that's why we're at, topping out the ceremony on schedule is really important.
Well, I know that for those of you who didn't make it, now you've got to be incredibly curious, right? So I know that we recently gave Making Moves videographer Jeff Leeser a tour of the facility to give us your first look at where everything will be located. So let's take a quick look at that.
I'm standing in the middle of the Jacksonville Regional Transportation Center at LaVilla, in the center of all the action where everything comes together. To my right is going to be the start of the bus transfer facility. This is where the buses come in off Bay Street. And the buses are actually going to enter and go underneath the administration building to their bus berths behind the building. And they'll traverse around and get off and exit on Forsyth Street. This is a very safe and convenient way for buses to get in and out of this congested area. To my left is the ticketing area, conditioned space area, nice terminal area for the bus terminal facility on the ground level. On the 2nd level will be restaurants, the access points for the pedestrian bridge, the automated people mover, and the autonomous vehicle. It'll also be the main lobby for the JTA headquarters. On the 3rd level is going to be the boardroom, administration wings, and the 4th and 5th will be the remaining JTA admin wings. So behind me is both 2 tracks. One is for the automated people mover to my left, and the one to the right is for the future autonomous vehicle test track that's going to connect Johnson Street behind me to the bus transfer facility and the administration wing. What this building has different than any other building in Jacksonville is it has safe passage both for JTA employees, public from the King Street parking garage, for any connection on the skyway, covered into their administration building and up to their desks on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th floor. It's very exciting. It's different. They're really setting a new standard for building here in Jacksonville by building their new administration wing over the skyway. And for safety concerns, when we were building this project, we really had to shut down this track from Johnson to the Prime Osborne Convention Center for safety reasons. But when we open up this building, everything is going to be operating just as normal, coming underneath cover of the building, going through the building. So what passengers are going to have coming from downtown on the APM or the autonomous vehicle is they're going to have access to restaurants. They're going to have access to an air-conditioned waiting area, ticketing lobby. They're going to have access to the bus transfer facility that'll take them anywhere in Jacksonville. They'll have access to the Greyhound station that'll take you anywhere in America. So this is really, truly an intermodal station that Jacksonville is going to be proud of. A significant element of this project is the construction of a 300-foot-long elevated pedestrian bridge that's going to connect the Greyhound terminal to the JRTC admin building and bus transfer facility. It's going to provide a safe haven for pedestrian traffic
over Forsyth Street, connecting this intermodal facility. It's going to be a covered walkway with ornate lighting and really provide a gateway into downtown for those traveling from Forsyth Street. It's really going to be exciting to see.
Wow, how about that? We're back with Dave Campbell of Balfour Beatty, and when you get to see it up close like that, it is so exciting. So obviously, as we said, still plenty of work to do, but tell us really what that work is going to entail for the next year.
So for the next 5 months, we're really going to be putting up the envelope. You're really going to see some big changes when it comes to the curtain wall system, the metal paneling system, and the roofing system. And during that time, we're also working hard indoors with the build out, the rough in, the studs, the framing, the mechanical systems. After that 5 months, we're starting the finish phase when we're dried in on the project. And so for the last half of the project, you don't see as much happening because it's all inside, but what you will see is a pedestrian bridge and the site improvements and the bus canopies. So every day is an exciting day out there, and you're gonna continue to see progress because half of Jacksonville comes in to this project in the morning and half of them leave. Everybody
Right.
sees it every day, so it's going to be really neat.
It really is cool to watch. Now you know this question's coming, right? I got to ask you: Have we nailed down what we at least think is going to be a completion date yet?
We're tracking to January 2020, the same completion date that we had 3 years ago when we started. Which for any project, when you finish, when you plan to, it's great. It's a great accomplishment.
That's fantastic. What are you hoping this really is, when all of this is done, what is the message that you want that to send to the community?
The message is great teamwork, a great client. You can come together and build a project that's going to stand the test of time and really be something that's important for Jacksonville and for everybody personally involved with it, that they can be really proud of and happy that they're involved with.
Absolutely. Well, Dave Campbell, thank you so much. It's great work so far. We're exciting to see it continue, and we can't wait to have you back here when everything's wrapped up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Still to come on Making Moves, JTA comes to the rescue when a neighboring county loses its transit service. A major Southside connector is getting expanded. We'll give you an update on that. And the Mayport Ferry gets a mini invasion. More on that in just a moment.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. This is a serious problem, but one we can solve. Visit feedingamerica.org to help. Together we can solve hunger. Together we're feeding America.
For most of us, eating healthy is just a matter of choice. We go to the nearest supermarket and pick out all the fresh produce we want. But how healthy would you be if all you had nearby was fast food restaurants and convenience stores filled with junk food and frozen pizzas? Every Friday, JTA's Rosa Parks Produce Market is helping you eat healthier with lots of fresh fruits and vegetables, all at reasonable prices. Rosa Parks help change our world. Now the Rosa Parks Produce Market can help change your life.
If you love them enough to relearn math so you can teach them math, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
You're watching Making Moves, the most honored public transportation news and information program in the country.
Welcome back. Clay Transit, a division of Clay County Council on Aging, has ceased operation, and with it, so too did Clay Transit. That closure left a huge transportation void in Clay County that is now being partially filled by the JTA. Responding to an emergency request by Florida's Commission for the Transportation Disadvantaged, JTA is now providing paratransit services for the transportation disadvantaged community in Clay County to ensure that existing customers continue to have reliable transportation.
All of those transportation disadvantage services are being funded by a state trip and equipment grant, as well as a local match provided by Clay County. Clay County recognizes the expertise that the JTA brings and is anxious to work with us in looking at other critical transportation needs they have. Other services we're looking at that the Clay County Board of Commissioners would like us to consider would be some of the flex services that were provided last year, as well as additional transportation disadvantage trips. So we are looking at what other services we can begin possibly next month. Those services, again, would be funded 100% by FDOT for the flex services and by the county for the transportation disadvantaged services.
JTA will act as the Clay County TD provider through June 30th of next year. JTA will also continue to operate its Clay Regional Express, Route 201, from the Black Creek Park and Ride on County Road 220. On Jacksonville's south side, construction is underway to expand Kernan Boulevard between Atlantic Boulevard and McCormick Road. As Making Moves correspondent Karen Adams reports, the prospect of better roads and the safety of sidewalks is appealing to Kernan residents.
Construction on Kernan from Atlantic Boulevard North to McCormick is right on schedule with a completion date of next March. And for area residents, they couldn't be happier. Oliver Danzalan would know. He takes his dog jogging on this stretch of road each and every day.
Very excited because it's going to lessen the congestion of the traffic. It's going to allow more people to drive in and out of this road right here because there's only 2 lanes. And when you got the school over there, and it's going to impact the traffic.
Angie Williams is the project manager. She's been overseeing construction and stays in constant contact with leaders of schools and churches on this stretch of Kernan. She recognizes firsthand the importance and the impact this construction project will have.
The significance of this project is the fact that people who live within this community, individuals taking their children to and from schools, will be able to utilize a roadway that is not congested. The other thing is that there are a lot of schools along Kernan Boulevard in this vicinity where there are no sidewalks. So now children will have safe passage to and from schools, leaving from home, and they can take their bikes or they could walk to school now without the risk of safety issue happening.
By the time the project is complete, Kernan will go from 4 to 6 lanes between Atlantic and Matthew Unger Drive, and from 2 to 4 lanes from Matthew Unger to McCormick. Also planned is a 12-foot wide multi-use path fit for bicyclists and joggers to use at the same time.
This is 3 times the width of a normal sidewalk. So you can have pedestrian traffic, joggers, skateboarders, or...
Planning for the Kernan project has been years in the making because this area is expected to see continued growth for decades to come.
Right now, what we are trying to do is plan this roadway out until about 2035, 2030, where we're taking into consideration future growth of this area. So it's not just being designed for the population right now, it's being designed for future growth.
The Kernan project is part of JTA's Mobility Works program and is the third Kernan-related project JTA will have completed, including the Beach Kernan and Atlantic Kernan overpasses. What residents here understand is that JTA did this project even though there will be no bus route, simply to help make this area better and help the community.
When we first moved here, I would have never known this place would have grown this much. This seems to be a very hot area because you're right in the middle from here to downtown and here to the base. It's a great area. This place needs to widen up. It really does. And safety for kids as well.
And widen up for safety, it will. Eventually, traffic signals will be synchronized to prevent congestion, making for a smooth flow of traffic for years to come.
I'm grateful, so grateful that this is happening.
On Kernan Boulevard, Karen Adams, JTA Making Moves.
Construction is expected to be completed in March of 2020. When we come back, the St. Johns River Ferry gets a mini makeover. You won't want to miss this.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day, I found out I had something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Commuting to and from work was costing me a lot of money. Now, with transit tax benefits, I can use pre-tax dollars to have a cheaper, more reliable way to work.
Transit commuter tax benefits save me real money. The cost of my commute is deducted before taxes are computed on my income. This tax savings allows me to collect about 3 months of transportation costs over a 12-month period.
Just ask your employer. It's that easy.
Your transit commuter tax benefit is waiting.
Going to work just became much nicer.
Because of you, I feel not alone in this world. And you let me know that it only takes one person to make you feel wanted.
Finally, people always seem to want to know how many of this they can get into that. Well, back in the day, it was teenagers in a Volkswagen. One recent Saturday morning, though, in Mayport, those teens grew up and decided to take on a new challenge. How many Mini Coopers can you get onto the St. Johns River Ferry? A local Mini Cooper enthusiast group put out the word they'd be invading the ferry to test the limits of Jacksonville's favorite vessel, and 30 Mini owners from as far away as Virginia, Orlando, and South Florida answered that call. One by one, they loaded onto the ferry, packing it with 30 Minis before it was all said and done.
Started this about 5 or 6 years ago, and it was just a small group, maybe 10 Minis, that wanted to go out to Fernandina Beach, and so we decided we'd take the ferry over there. We thought it'd be fun, the group of us, take photos by the water, and then it just started growing after that. And this year I was determined to just completely fill the ferry.
After making the trip across the St. Johns River, the Minis were off to Tom Bush Mini in Regency, where the group was treated to lunch by the dealership. The final that stuffed the ferry this year, as we said, 30 Minis. 30 Minis on the ferry, how about that? You just have to love it. All right, always a good time on the JTA ferry. And that wraps up this edition of Making Moves. We thank you for taking some time to join us. Remember, you can check out past episodes anytime on JTAFLA.com. And you can also find stories and other exclusive content when you like our Facebook page at facebook.com/JTA Making Moves. I'm Donna Deegan. We hope to see you next time for another edition of Making Moves. Take care, everyone.